short.
Oh, you are?
Paul,
He hurt his back, and it's better, but he can't come and stand and walk around anything.
I said stop being a genius.
Okay, I'll pass that on.
Good to see you.
I'll go tell Carol, or tell
I
Catherine.
told her.
Did you?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I totally missed that you guys were chalice lighting. My bad. I mean, we're looking like down in here and we don't see. That's what's going on. Okay. Okay. Are we letting congregations? I think wasn't the plan
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Again. Hi, my name is Wendy Sire. I'm a member this year of the board of Tennessee Valley Unitarian Universalist Church. So on behalf of the board and the program council, I welcome you to TVUUC. As we like to say, you are welcome here, whoever you are, wherever you're from, and wherever you are on your journey. Today is a special day. Every day is a special day, but today is Invite a Friend to Church Day. So whether you were here because you were invited or because you found us on your own, we give you a special welcome if you're new here. If you'd like more information about the church or about Unitarian Universalism, and you haven't already left your name out in the lobby, we invite you to fill out a little form that should be in a little pocket in front of you, if you're not in the front row, and then drop that into the basket, and then somebody will contact you. And then do join us if you're new. Come to the fellowship hall after the service. Time to chat. Grab somebody you haven't met before and talk to them. Don't be shy. If you are interested in religious education for the kids, for youth, we do have a very active and creative program. Hopefully you've checked if you have kids that would like to do that program today. There's a table out in the lobby. If they haven't already checked in there, they can just go out with the other kids, and Miriam Davis will still be at the table and direct them to the right place today. I have a number of announcements today. Wanted to start with COVID protocols, which we often do. We know that church guidelines have changed recently, the risk levels change, so if you're still confused by what you can do today, you're not alone, and you're certainly forgiven. So I want to try to give the guidelines for today as clearly as I can. Don't want to confuse you. First of all, because if you haven't already heard, we have gone from high down to medium risk level. Yay. Which means that eating and drinking are now allowed in the fellowship hall, and I think there will be coffee served in the fellowship hall. Sorry? Heather says there will. There will be. Okay, somebody says okay. There will be coffee in the coffee. So yay, we didn't do that last week. So do come and have coffee. We do still ask at the medium level, we do still ask that everybody over 2 wear a mask with some exceptions. The exceptions are if you're in the fellowship hall eating and drinking your coffee, you don't have to wear a mask. Also, if you are up here speaking at the mic, as I am doing, you can take your mask off while you're speaking. And I understand that the choir, nicely spaced out over here, can take their masks off while they're singing. However, for the rest of you, you are invited to sing, but please leave your mask on while you sing. So we're back to being able to sing hymns. If you, for COVID or for whatever reason, feel safer watching the service in a smaller group, there will still be broadcast. The service is still being broadcast into the Lizzie Crozier French Room and Room A. In the Lizzie room, everybody must wear a mask. In Room A, everybody over 2 must wear a mask. That's more appropriate if you have small kids and there are toys in there to play. Let's see. There is a new program called Starting Point. It's a 2-part introduction or review of Unitarian Universalism. This is starting today. This is intended both for those interested in membership and for established members, either one, who want a review. It's going to offer newcomers and old-timers opportunities to explore ways in which Unitarian Universalism can make a difference in their lives. It can help you decide if you decide UUism is right for you and to reflect on your beliefs and values. The class will be facilitated by Reverend Chris Buice, RE Director Catherine Farmer-Loya, and Mark Mahundro. So the first session of this class is today at 1 o'clock from 1 to 3. I'm not sure where, but you can find it out there. In Lizzie Room, okay. And the second session will be next Sunday at the same time. If you prefer, or if you're watching us online, there will be a Zoom session of this on Mondays. Correct me, Mark, if I'm wrong on any of this. Tomorrow and then next Monday, and that will be from 7 to 9. If you want to do the Zoom one, of course, you'll need a Zoom link. So you can go to the TVU website, which is tvuuc.org, and look for the article about Starting Point on the website, and in the article, there's a place to register for the Zoom. If you have questions, this is Mark Mahendra right here. So did I leave anything out, Mark, about that? Anything else I should say about the Starting Point?
No, it's suggested that you attend both, but don't let that stop you. It's not required.
So you can attend one or both, but the Zoom will be a repeat of the non-Zoom, right? Okay, so you can either do one or two, or if you really want, you can do both the in-person and the Zoom, but here it's twice. Next announcement, just a heads up, you'll get more details on this later, but we are having an auction this year. Yay! Okay, well, I'll explain. If you don't know what the auction is, if you're new, feel free to grab me after the service. I'll give you a lot more details. This time, it will still be online, okay? However, we're going to get together in person on Saturday. The auction is going to be from December 1, Thursday, to Saturday, December 3. And we're going to have a party at the church on December 3rd in the evening. We will display some of the items that are going to be in the auction, but you'll still be doing your bidding online. It'll be somebody here at the church to help you with online bidding if you need. So we still have the fun of having an auction party. We're looking forward to that. Start thinking about what you want to donate. We were hoping to have the auction website available to start donations tomorrow, but taking a little longer than we expect. So hopefully sometime this week, the auction website will be up and running, and you can start entering your donations. But in the meantime, think about what you want to do. A dinner, a family treasure that you don't want anymore. So it can be an event, something that you do, teach a class, something like that. And we'll be giving you a lot more information about the auction later. We'll also be posting, if you haven't donated before or bid before online, we will be posting instructions on how to do that online. Not yet up. So today, just a reminder, join us for coffee and conversation in the fellowship hall or on the patio outside. As always, the gift table is in the fellowship hall if you want to buy gift cards to buy things at groceries, and a portion of that money will come back to the church. It's a good fundraiser. Also, you can sign cards at the caring table for joys and concerns. Also, as a member of the board, I will be out in the fellowship hall for about half an hour. If you have questions for the board or comments, feedback, whatever, I'll be there for about half an hour. Then I have to rush off to a board meeting. And now I remind you to silence your electronic devices as we enter into service. Thank you.
I'd like you to take a moment to look at your program and notice the name of today's offertory. It is called One Lord. And I understand Lord is a really loaded word here. It was used by the English translators of the Bible and references the feudal caste system those translators lived in. As a translation, the word Lord took the place of a group of consonants that represented the proper name of a God who did not want to be named. Our prelude, Gabriel's Oboe, is from a fictional account of a Jesuit priest attempting to share his one Lord with a group of people who had their own gods and no need for his. While we can't change the word or its history, may its use today represent the Unitarian idea that all people's will to compassion, service, and unity comes from a single, mysterious, and unnameable source.
Welcome to this Invite a Friend Sunday. I am so glad we are gathered today in all the ways that we gather. Some of us here in the room this morning have invited somebody to join us or have been invited to come. And if you are watching online, you may also invite somebody to stay to join us by sharing. If you are watching on Facebook, there are many ways to bring people to this circle of community. And I have opening words from Marilyn Sewell. Come into this circle of love and justice. Come into this community where we can dream and believe in those dreams. Come into this holy space where we remember who we are and how we want to live. Come now and let us worship together.
Can't you feel it in your bones, y'all? A change is coming on. From every walk of life, people are seeing the light. Can't you feel it in your hearts now? A taking shape. Reach out, touch a hand now. Make a friend if you can. Hey, what about you, my friend? Ain't it time you come on in? We can find a better way. Why don't you join us today? Well, reach out and touch a hand. Make a friend if you can. Reach out and touch a hand, y'all. Make a friend if you can. It's been reflected in the attitudes of others just like you. Reach out, touch a hand, y'all. Make a friend if you can. Well, every day folks are waking up to the need for one another. We're on our way, making the world a better place. Can't you feel it in your hearts now? A new thing is taking shape. Reach out, touch a hand, y'all. Make a friend if you can. Sing, reach out and take a hand. Make a friend if you can. Reach out and touch a hand, y'all. Make a friend if you can. Reach out, touch a hand. Make a friend if you can. Reach out, touch a hand. Make a friend if you can. Reach out, touch a hand. Make a friend if you can. Reach out, touch a hand. Make a friend if you can. Reach out, touch a hand.
Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. To dwell together in peace, and to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. This is our great covenant. We can join together in singing hymn 89.
Good morning again. It is good to be here. And I have a question as I get started. How many of us here can think of a circle of community that you are part of? Many of us, I think probably all of us, are members of many circles of community. You might be part of a family. You probably are part of a family, right? Some of whom might live with you, others who do not. You might be part of a community in a workplace or in a school. You might just be part of a circle of community right here this morning. Whether you've been here for many years or you came in for the first time today, whether you're here in the sanctuary or watching online or from one of the other spaces in this building, you are part of this circle of community right now. I have some helpers who are going to come forward this morning. So Evan and Juno, if you would come and join me, because I want to share a little bit about the way we choose to be together in community, and in particular in our RE spaces. And when I say RE, those are religious exploration programs that we offer, and we have some posters that are in the walls in every one of our spaces. Would you hold this one up for me? And would you hold this one, please? Thank you so much. So on the wall in every one of our rooms, and I know it's not easy to see them. You may not be able to see them from where you are, but these are articulations of our Unitarian Universalist principles and what we call our RE covenant. And the covenant is an agreement that we make about the ways we intend to be together when we create our circles of community. And you might be able to tell that the colors align, because for each one of our UU principles, we have chosen one way in which we live out that principle together as part of our covenant. There are many ways we live it, but these are ones that we say out loud together every single week when we gather. And we say it every single time because we want to set our intention for how to be together. And we want this intention to be something that is part of the groundwater, part of our bones, that our young people in particular growing up in our community, and I think for all of us as well who are not quite as young, having that regular reminder of the community we intend to create when we are together here helps us know that a community of love and justice is possible, and we can make it real. And we can practice living it here, and we can take it out into every space, every circle of community that we are part of. And so we're going to do the practice that we do in all of our RE spaces right here this morning. And we're going to say it out loud in just a minute. But first, I always like to say that this is our agreement for how we're going to intend to be together. But I wonder, are any of us here this morning perfect people? Is anyone here a perfect person? Any one of us might step out of covenant while we're together. We don't expect one another to be perfect. And the example I often give is if I am in a conversation and I'm really excited and really invested in it, and something occurs to me to say, I might be so excited that I just start talking and not even really realize that I am totally interrupting somebody who's already speaking. Is there anybody else here who might every now and then do something like that? Some of us might. And if we're in our circle of community together and I do that, Juno might say to me, oh, Catherine, remember our covenant, and be inviting me to come back into covenant, because any one of us might make a mistake. Any one of us might step out of covenant. So what we do together is to set our intention to do our best and to be willing to be called back into covenant if we step out of covenant. And the way we do it is we say it out loud. And so Juno and Evan are going to get us started, and then we're going to invite the congregation to share so we can hear our covenant out loud, especially since not everybody can actually see it right now. So let's see. Would one of you like to read number 1 on our covenant? All right, Evan.
Show respect for all.
Number 1, show respect for all. Number 2, would you like to share number 2? Can you see it right here on the covenant?
The inherent worth and dignity of every person.
Oh, that is number 1 on the principles. Would you share number 2 on the covenant?
Be kind and fair.
Be kind and fair. Thank you. Show respect for all, number 1. Be kind and fair, number 2. Is there somebody here this morning who can see our poster and would like to say number 3 out loud for us? Oh, all right, JoJo. So number 3 is participate and encourage each other. Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to say it? All right, right back there. Can you see number 4? You can come on up if you'd like to. All right, number 4.
Share, listen, and take turns.
Thank you. Is there anybody here with us who would like to say number 5 out loud, who can see it or wants to come forward? Yes.
Include everyone.
Thank you. Include everyone. Number 5. Number 6, is there somebody who's part of our circle this morning who is here who would like to say number 6 out loud? I'm looking at folks up close here. Here we go. Number 6.
Settle disagreements in peaceful, caring ways.
Thank you. Settle disagreements in peaceful, caring ways. Number 7. Number 7.
Take care of each other, our space, and our world.
Thank you. And number 8, that aligns with our 8th principle that the congregation adopted recently. Number 8, is there somebody who hasn't shared one yet? Yes.
Challenge racism and oppression wherever we find them.
Thank you. Challenge racism and oppression wherever we find them. And so I ask those of us who are gathered here today, in this space and watching online, are you willing to do your best to uphold this covenant while we are together this morning and be willing to be called back into covenant if we should step out of it? Yes. All right. We have created a circle where we are focused on love and justice and inclusion and creating the kind of world that we want to build in every circle of community in our lives. So thank you for being part of that circle this morning. Thank you, Juno and Evan and all of our readers for helping. And yes, these are the principles. We didn't say the principles out loud this time because we want people to be able to have the whole service today. But I do think it's important to notice that in every one of our rooms, the principles are on the wall right next to the covenant. So even if we don't say them out loud every time, they align with our covenant and are an articulation of who we are and what our commitments are as a community. So thank you, Evan. And now we are going to sing our learners and leaders out. We're not going to sing them out. We are going to go out, those who are heading to our RE spaces, while we have our recessional music. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Mark Mohundra. I'm one of the lay leaders here at church and also membership coordinator. I'm going to be reading The Great Mystery by Ohihisa, and then we'll be doing a responsive reading 639 in your gray hymnal. The attitude of the American Indian toward the eternal, the great mystery that surrounds and embraces us, is as simple as it is exalted. To us, it is the supreme conception, bringing with it the fullest measure of joy and satisfaction possible in this life. The worship of the great mystery is silent, solitary, free from all self-seeking. It is silent because all speech is of necessity feeble and imperfect. Therefore, the souls of our ancestors ascended to God in wordless adoration. It is solitary because we believe that God is nearer to us in solitude, and there are no priests authorized to come between us and our Maker. None can exhort or confess or in any way meddle with the religious experience of another. All of us are created children of God, and all stand erect, conscious of our divinity. Our faith cannot be formulated in creeds, nor forced on anyone unwilling to receive it. Hence, there is no preaching, no proselytizing, nor persecution, Neither are there any scoffers or atheists. Our religion is an attitude of mind, not a dogma. Now, if you haven't turned to the responsive reading 639 in your hymnal, you will be reading the italicized portion of that. Let us love one another, because love is from God. No one has ever seen God. If we love one another, God lives in us. There is no fear in love, for perfect love casts out fear. No one has ever seen God. If we love one another, God lives in us.
It's this moment in the service when we lift up our joys and concerns. And we are sad to learn the news that Marcia Uzzleton and Terry Uzzleton's nephew, Luke Bell, died at the age of 32. Luke had a very promising career in country music and opened up for Willie Nelson, Hank Williams Jr., and Dwight Yoakam and others. And there's a thoughtful commentary on his life that's available online called Luke Bell Achieves Escape Velocity, Saving Country Music. Our thoughts and prayers are with our acting director of music, David Asbury, as his mother, Ruby Asbury, undergoes surgery and diagnostic testing to evaluate the best treatment options. Ruby lives in Virginia, and so David's doing some shuttling care at this time. We think of Steve Krause, who went into the hospital suffering the symptoms of a stroke, but apparently not having any long-term negative physical effects. So let us keep Steve and his wife Carol in our thoughts. And we celebrate with Carolyn Rogers and her sister Patty, who are celebrating the 50th anniversary of a transplant surgery which saved her life. We encourage you as a church to sign the organ donation section of your driver's license. Doing that could save as many as 8 lives. Organ donation is a very important spiritual practice. Our thoughts and prayers are with Rachel Kovac, who grew up in this church. She was a child in our Sunday school, moved out into the world. Her partner died recently, and her parents, Jeff and Susan, are with her in the D.C. area and staying at their son Peter's house. They're all healing together. And there will be a memorial service for Kim Haynes held here at the church on Sunday, September 18th at 4 o'clock. She will be remembered for her love and devotion to this church. She was somebody who was an online participant before we had online services. She followed us on podcasts, living out in Wallen, but also traveling a lot for work. So she's a reminder that there's more than one way to belong, and she was a member of a heart-to-heart circle, an important part of this community. She told me, I'm dying in peace. I'm at peace. And she said this church was absolutely core for why East Tennessee felt like home in the last years of her life. If you have any other joys or concerns and would like someone to talk to, I encourage you to call the TVUC Pastoral Care Line. The number is 865-297-3155. You'll also see that posted around the church building if you forget. For all the joys and concerns which are spoken and those which remain unspoken, let us enter into a time of meditation. Let us turn inward now. Let us feel the rhythm of our breath. In and out. In and out. Find the peace of just being with the flow of your breath. Letting go of yesterday and tomorrow. Feeling the restorative power of peace in this moment. A peace large enough to open to the concerns and sorrows that trouble us. A stillness quiet enough to respond to the joys and celebrations that enliven us. There is safety here in the rhythm of breath. The ebb and flow of life is enacted in each breath. Taking in oxygen, sustenance. Letting go of carbon dioxide, waste. Taking in the fullness of experience. Letting go of the residue that wants to cling to us. Finding inner peace and inner safety in this sanctuary dedicated to the Spirit of life and being a beacon of love for all beings. Let us enter into a time of silent worship together. Amen. You can remain seated for our next hymn, Name Unnamed, hymn 31.
that refreshes and frees.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us here at Tennessee Valley. My name is Claudia Presley, and I'm the Director of Finance and Operations. Today is a Generosity Offering Sunday. What that means is that 100% of anything you give today that is not marked as a pledge goes to the General Operating Fund of TVUC. If you're with us here in the sanctuary, you can look in your order of service and see all of the ways that you can give. There will also be some offering baskets that will be passed around during the offertory. If you're joining us online, the easiest way to do this is to look at your screen and see if there is a button or a bar at the bottom that says Give Now. Click that, super easy. Or if you're into texting, you can text 73256, type in TVUC and the amount that you would like to give. So once again, thanks for joining us. Have a wonderful day.
Give us new hands, open and free, to serve with grace and dignity. May we be worthy of our call. We have but give us new eyes, loving and wise, to seek the good we all have inside. May we be worthy of our call. We have but
give us new hearts, humble yet strong, in like you our whole life long. May we be worthy of our call. We have but one.
Whenever I'm asked the question what Unitarian Universalists believe, I like to begin by telling my favorite Unitarian Universalist joke. The joke goes like this. There was a group of Unitarian Universalists who could not agree on theology, and so they decided to go to God to see if God could resolve their differences. But when they got there, there was a line. And the first two people in line were an imam and a rabbi from the Middle East, and they had a question. They said, God, will we ever be able to get the Jews and the Muslims to live together in peace in the Middle East? And God said, yes, but not in your lifetime. The next two people in line were a priest and a Protestant minister from Northern Ireland during the Troubles. And they said, God, will we ever be able to get Catholics and Protestants to live together in peace in Northern Ireland? And God said, yes, but not in your lifetime. And finally, the group of Unitarian Universalists come forward and say, God, will we ever be able to get all Unitarian Universalists to agree on theology? And God said, yes, but not in my lifetime. This morning, my topic is the history of God in Unitarian Universalism. And I was inspired by Karen Armstrong's wonderful book, A History of God. You'll be grateful to know the sermon will be shorter than the book. But it's a wonderful book. I recommend it to you. And I had to narrow the topic even further, so I would now call it, so that we don't go on forever, would be themes in the history of God in American Unitarian Universalism. Now, you may be wondering why I would choose a topic when Unitarian Universalists don't all agree on that topic. The philosopher Alfred North Whitehead said Unitarians believe in one God at the most. Indeed, there has always been a variety of points of view about what that word means. But in the church, we share a conviction that was articulated by the Reverend Dr. Harry Emerson Fosdick. There, in our differences, we do agree on this sentiment. He said, it's better to believe in no God than to believe in a cruel God, a tribal God, a sectarian God. Belief in God is one of the most dangerous beliefs we can cherish. If the God we believe in is small and mean, the more intensely we hold this belief and cultivate it, the smaller and meaner we will become. It behooves us to take care what kind of God we believe in. Some of the people who do not believe in God are more merciful, truth-loving, and just than are some who do. In the Unitarian Universalist Church, we don't have a creed. We don't have a theological statement that can be used as a test of membership. What you believe or disbelieve about God will never be used as a reason to include you or exclude you from the fellowship of this community. We are more interested in compassion and ethics than abstract metaphysics. And that's why every Sunday morning we say that covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. To dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Love, peace, truth, helping one another. These are the values that hold us together. On the anniversary of September 11, 2001, and the violent aftermath of that event, we are mindful of how acts of cruelty can be cloaked in religious language. Human beings are capable of doing horrible things when we are convinced that God is on our side. For this reason, the Unitarian Universalist Church believes it's more important to pay attention to someone's character than their creed. When Muslims and Christians were killing each other in acts of genocide during the Serbian Civil War, a priest spoke out and said, "Violence in the name of God is violence against God. Violence in the name of any religion is violence against all religions." To that I say amen. Although Unitarian Universalists do not agree on all theology points, we do agree on some principles together. Our faith is a merger of two denominations, the Unitarian Church and the Universalist Church, that came together in 1961. In the 19th century, when Thomas Starr King was asked to describe the differences between Unitarians and Universalists, he said, "Universalists believe that God is too good to damn them to hell forever, and Unitarians believe they are too good to be damned." This is a witty way, but it actually is very on point for two different perspectives that merged. One focusing on a God whose nature is love, and the other focusing on the inherent worth and dignity, the divine spark in every person. So Unitarians and Universalists have different ways of approaching the subject of God, but one of the things we all agree on is we reject fear-based religion. We reject fear-based religion. Thomas Jefferson, a self-described Unitarian, wrote a letter to his nephew, Peter Carr, where he said, "Question boldly even the existence of God, for if there is a God, he will more approve the homage of reason than blindfolded fear." There's a difference between faith and blindfolded fear. In the 16th century, the Universalist minister John Murray said something similar. This idea that God is too good to damn everyone to hell forever was controversial in his time, and he sometimes had protesters outside of the churches where he spoke. And one day someone threw a rock through the window of the church, and the rock landed near his pulpit. And he picked up the rock and said, "This argument is solid and weighty, but it is neither rational nor convincing. Not all the stones in Boston, except they stop my breath, shall shut my mouth." And he continued preaching. In other words, throwing a rock through a window is not a strong religious argument. This week, the Unitarian Universalist Church in Auburn, Alabama, was vandalized with homophobic graffiti on their sign, a hate message spray painted on their sign. A can of spray paint is not a good religious argument. In the Unitarian Universalist Church, we want arguments that are not only solid and weighty, but rational and convincing. William Ellery Channing, the founder of American Unitarianism, declared that when people do cruel things in the name of God, and this is him speaking in the language of the 19th century, he said, "They take from us our Father in heaven and substitute for him a being we cannot love if we would, and who we ought not love if we could." On another occasion, he said, "We cannot bow before a being, however great or however powerful, who governs tyrannically. We respect nothing but excellence, whether on earth or heaven." Now, in the early days of American Unitarianism and Universalism, patriarchal language was normative. It was said in the 19th century that Unitarians believed in the fatherhood of God, the brotherhood of man, and the neighborhood of Boston. That was before God changed her pronouns. I have some friends in England, I was an exchange student now, that are working on pronoun changes as they move from saying God save the Queen to God save the King. And all I can tell you is pronoun shifts can be disorienting, both on earth and in heaven. In the 19th century, many Unitarian Universalists began to speak of the motherhood of God. The Transcendentalists placed emphasis on transcendence, that which transcends our differences, that which transcends our divisions, that which transcends all our different points of view, that which transcends any binary, transcends gender. To use contemporary language, We might say, insomuch as God is transcendent, God is transgender. We can use masculine language, and we can use feminine language, and we can use personal pronouns, or we can use impersonal nouns, or we can simply remain silent. And that's what the Tao Te Ching recommends. The Tao Te Ching says, those who know don't say, and those who say don't know. Margaret Fuller, who was one of the Unitarian Transcendentalists, started leading conversations with women in Elizabeth Palmer Peabody's bookshop because women were excluded from higher education, and she wanted women to be able to have all the benefits of education, and that included a good schooling in all the Greek goddesses and Roman goddesses of ancient tradition. Such information was just a part of a classical education that she felt everyone should have. Of course, when Margaret Fuller spoke of her own religious experience, she sounded almost like a Buddhist or a Hindu. She was walking out in nature, and she had this vivid experience that she wrote down in her journal. She said, I saw that there was no self, that selfishness was all folly and the result of circumstances, that it was only because I thought the self real that I suffered, that I had only to live in the idea of the all, and all was mine. This truth came to me, and I received it unhesitatingly, so that I was for that hour taken up to God. Margaret Fuller's spiritual experience in nature was similar to the experiences of other transcendentalists who were seeking new language to describe transcendence. And at this period in history, the Eastern religions were now being found in English translations, the Upanishads, the Tao Te Ching, the Bhagavad Gita, and the Transcendentalists started learning from Eastern traditions and incorporating much of the wisdom of those books. Ralph Waldo Emerson decided to embrace a new metaphor for the divine, which he called the oversoul, which has some similarities to the Hindu idea of Brahman. He wrote, within us is the soul of the whole, the wise silence, the universal beauty, to which every part and particle is equally related, the eternal one. When it breaks through our intelligence, it is genius. When it breathes through our will, it is virtue. When it flows through our affections, it is love. Emerson reminds me, his words remind me of something I once heard a Methodist friend say to me. She said, a teacher sees God in her students. A nurse sees God in her patients. An environmentalist sees God in nature. And when I think of Emerson and some other Unitarian theologians, I like to add, and to the abstract thinker, God is an abstract thought. To be fair to Emerson, he had a penchant for abstraction, but he also saw God in nature. And this is one of the things that people don't always know, but church historians will tell you one of the fundamental differences between American religion and European traditional religion was the focus on nature, which is something that is conjectured we got from Native Americans. That it was the dialogue with Native Americans, and what Ohayesa of the Lakota Sioux said is the great mystery. It was that encounter that brought forth reflections on the divine in nature. The study of the world's religions opened the gateway to non-theistic ways of thinking about religion. Buddhism doesn't require a belief in God. Indeed, the goal of Zen Buddhism is to let go of all ideas, to let go of all concepts, to empty the mind and become receptive. To empty yourself and become receptive. Now, the medieval Christian mystic said something similar. Coming from the Christian tradition, he said, he prayed to God to rid me of God. That's a real interesting sentence. He prayed to God to rid me of God, to rid me of images, to rid me of ideas, to rid me of concepts, in order to have an unmediated experience with ultimate reality. Shortly after Transcendentalists began studying Buddhism, the tradition of humanism emerged in our faith tradition, which is an important part of Unitarian Universalism today. According to the humanist tradition, the goal of religion is not about abstract metaphysics. It's about being a good human being. That's the goal, that's the test. Does believing something make you a better human being than you were before? It's a call to lead ethical lives, to do good in the world, to help others. And just as there are varieties of different Buddhism or Islam or Christianity, there are differences in the humanist tradition. Some forms of humanism reject all reference to the word God. It is felt that the word does more harm than good. This morning I was looking at social media and an image popped up that had the Twin Towers before the terrorist attack on September 11th, and it had the words of John Lennon, "Imagine no religion." And when we consider how much violence has been done in the name of religion, we can understand that argument. If belief in God is synonymous with terrorism, if belief in God is synonymous with taking the lives of innocent people, then we would be wise to reject the idea altogether. However, there are forms of humanism that have embraced the word God as a symbol for our highest ideals, a symbol for the values that we hold most sacred. And in this sense, the old Universalist churches, and I visited a lot in Ohio, old country Universalist churches that have the words "God is love" over the doorway as you walk in, those words, in that sense, offer a welcoming message to anyone who might walk through the door of whatever belief, of whatever kind, Jewish, Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, Hindu. My seminary preaching professor, when he was asked what a sermon should be about, he said it should be about God in about 20 minutes. So we're getting there. So let me see if I can sum up this overly ambitious sermon topic with a few words. Thomas Merton once said, "The gap between ourselves and the poor is the gap between ourselves and God. The distance we have between each other is the distance we have with God." Regardless of our theology, Unitarian Universalists believe together that we should mind the gap. The gap between the wealthy and the poor, the gap between the haves and the have-nots, the gap between those who are earning a living wage or more and those who are struggling to get by, those with homes and those who are homeless. We should mind the gap. We may not all agree on exactly how to mind that gap, but we agree that's where the work is. And there is a rabbinic teaching that tells us if someone asks us for assistance and we say to them, "God will provide," and do nothing to help that person, then we are unfaithful to God. In other words, an atheist who helps is more true to the tradition than a believer who does not offer assistance. And this is something we can agree on. So let St. John have the last word, slightly paraphrased. The last word of this morning. Those who say, "I love God," but do not help others are dishonest. For those who do not love a person whom they have seen cannot love God whom they have not seen. Amen. I invite you to join with us in hymn 343. Rise in body or spirit. Some came here to be blessed with answers in a tumultuous world. Let us hope, too, however, that many of us have been blessed with questions to direct us with clarity of mind, to steer our logic toward kindness, compassion, and justice. Prophetic Church, the world awaits your liberating ministry. Go forward in the power of love, proclaim the truth that makes us free. I invite you to join us for our social hour, either inside or outside, wherever you're comfortable. I'll be out front greeting people, so there's lots of different places for you to participate. As our last act of worship, I invite you to turn and greet your neighbor.
it's just really tough, and we need to do some hard